pictures of Riyadh. I kind of know what Cairo looks like, but we could use a refresher. Take a look at Riyadh. Because Dubai did all the construction work not too long ago. And some of that is a bit dubious, right? They put like landfill or land reclamation, and they built like fancy islands to build houses on. I don't think that's a good house. It's a good way to do housing, but like you have like the palm, and you like reclaim land in the shape of a palm tree, and then like you have roads going down the middle of each front, and you have houses on either side, and every house has a beachfront. Those look awful, to be honest. Just in terms of the urban environments, there's no urban environment. It's just a bunch of houses that are laid out in a very low density way. So everybody needs air conditioning because you're in a desert, basically. You're in a desert and you're living in like American style bungalows, which is not for that climate at all. And to get anywhere, it's just a road. Because if you don't drive, if you try to walk, you have to walk all the way down along the like down the leaves, the leaves of the palm tree, down to the trunk in the middle, and then go down the trunk just to get to a shop. You have to like go through all that, and you're not gonna walk that distance in the desert, right? There's no way you're gonna do that. I just realized I need slabs. That's okay. Just get slabs here. Nope, other one. Should I hold on to a stack of slabs? I guess I should. But I guess those houses are for people who just drive everywhere anyway. Like, they're not built for pedestrians. You know, that sort of thing, it's gimmick architecture, it's not good architecture. I don't remember if I had extra lights at the entrances. I don't think I did. Let me just check. Alright, no extra light. Oh, and the line. The idea you have like a linear city, it's a really bad idea because the traffic's gonna be awful. It's not even a loop, it's just a straight line. No, that's awful. The the transport is gonna be awful. Like obviously the buildings or the offices and houses at the end of the line, imagine like you have to get to the other end and you have to travel all the way down the line and all the way back. Yeah, you don't want to do that, right? So then if you have a shop, you would want to put your shop right in the middle, which is the closest point to every single other point. Okay, that makes sense. Maybe it's just going to be offices and shops in the middle and then residences at the ends. I mean, that probably makes the most sense. But in terms of traffic, like you're gonna get massive traffic jams in the middle. because everyone's going this on the same road along the line. Seems like a bad idea to me. But realistically, you would assume that the line is gonna end up being just the centerpiece. Hold on, where are my torches? Put that there. It would be the centerpiece of a new city. Presumably. So the line is not the whole thing. They're gonna build a city around the line. Presumably. I mean, that would make sense to me, is that? Like, it's not enough to make a city. Or it's not enough to make a functioning city. But I do get the suspicion that the people making these decisions, they're not, they're not thinking about how ordinary people live. It almost seems like they're a bunch of really rich and somewhat out of touch royalty who have way too much money and don't really understand how real people live in the real world. It almost seems that way, right? Just a hunch. I mean, the Saudi royal family, not to criticize them or anything, but you kinda get the impression that maybe it's not that realistic, the kind of stuff that they're doing. Not very practical. 2, 3. Uh, right, and then that, and then 1, 2, 3. What else do I need? Do I need more bars? Come back if I do. Oh, this way. Having said that, it's not like leaving it to ordinary people and the free market, quote unquote free market. That doesn't always produce good results either. I mean, American suburbs have been described as deserts. Suburban desert. Because you would get residential gated residential communities that then don't have any shops or workplaces, like it's just suburbs with houses. And again, to get anywhere, you have to get in a car to drive somewhere because everything is so far away. And people think they want that sort of thing because, oh, privacy, exclusivity, it's an exclusive neighborhood, privacy, nobody, no riffraff on your streets. Which, I mean, it's true, but once their kids grow up, they run away from home because home's so boring. Like when you have little kids, when you have babies and toddlers, and like little kids, okay, it's safe. You have a safe neighborhood, they can play on the streets because there's no cars on the street. I mean, no cars on the street, that's already sort of an alarm bell. It's like, if there's no cars on the street, why are there streets? You mean nobody ever comes here? Yeah, no, there's nobody ever comes here. Right, nobody ever comes here, so the streets are safe for your kids to play on, okay? I mean, sure. But then once the kids grow up to be teenagers, once they hit puberty, they just run the hell away. Because it's way too boring in these suburban deserts. Urban planning, I wonder. So I guess it's just one of these things that's too complicated to be trusted with. Like, you can't just trust ordinary people with this stuff because it's too complicated. Although having said that, the experts also sometimes get it wrong. Disastrously wrong. Nobody gets it right. Isn't that funny? Nobody gets it right. Urban planning. Man, back in the, what is it, 60s, 70s? They had this really bright idea of like redeveloping slums. They thought you would get rid of a slum just by demolishing it and building new buildings. I mean, these were architects who didn't understand how real people live, right? Because why do slums exist? Slums exist because people are poor, right? It's not because of the buildings. If people had money, they would fix the buildings. The fact that the buildings don't get fixed is not because the buildings need to be fixed. I mean, yes, the buildings do need to be fixed. But they're not being fixed because people are poor, right? So if you demolish the houses, it doesn't make the people any richer. It just demolishes poor people's houses and now they're homeless. So, you know, instead of redeveloping the slums, just give people money. Give people economic opportunity. And the slums will fix themselves, actually. Like, believe it or not. When people have enough money, they'll fix their homes. Like, you don't need to do it for them. Believe it or not. So a lot of the slum redevelopment ideas, what ended up happening is they turned old slums into new slums. They turned old rundown slums into new rundown slums because the people continued to not have any money, and therefore they continue to not be able to fix their buildings. And of course, the drug problems, the crime problems. I mean, those things exist because people are poor and desperate. And if you don't fix the poverty and desperation, it's just going to continue being a problem, the same problem, but in a different building. Which then goes back to the Saudi Arabia thing. Right, they're building big ass skyscrapers, and, big ass ecologies in the deserts. And I'm just wondering, is everything else in place to support these big ass ecologies in the desert? By which I mean, can people afford to live in these things? And if people could afford to live in these things, why didn't they build these sorts of things themselves already? Why did they need you to build a mega project? What I mean is, if people could afford fancy houses, they would just build fancy houses with the money that they have. Why do you need to build a mega project? And if they don't have the money, then you build a mega project, but they can't afford to live in it. And it's just going to be a waste of money. Presumably. But what do I know, right? I'm not the crown prince of Saudi Arabia. What do I know? Alright, another level done. 1, 2, 3. Two, three. China does city building too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Don't have too much to say about China, except to say that they don't just build cities. Actually, the bigger part of the project is improving the business opportunities for poor people. So that's actually the bigger part. Like the city building part is almost just incidental. I mean, no, it's not incidental, but it's just like a natural consequence of people getting more money. The Chinese spend a lot of effort connecting rural farmers with the national economy. They did this by trains and roads, first of all, so they can get their goods to market, but also internet infrastructure. I mean, even really remote villages have good mobile internet. And the trick is, for a lot of people, the trick is the internet access allows you to advertise your products to the outside world, and then the roads and trains allow you to ship the products out, and so then you can like sell your stuff. And like the rich people in the cities, especially like the hipsters, they like the idea of, authentic farm produce. Hey, Harper. And so these city hipsters would, you know, go online, find some farmer streaming their wares, and they just buy directly from the farmer. And so that's how the Chinese have promoted economic development in the rural areas. And then as the farmers get more money, they'll build new houses because their old houses were pretty bad. So it's more organic, I guess, than what Saudi Arabia seems to be doing.